Trump thought he could intimidate Biden during joint TV appearance. Biden's offhand remark about fake tan sent Trump into the most embarrassing rage of his political career. Welcome to Real Life Stories. Before we dive into this shocking confrontation, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from, and if you believe stories like this need to be told, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Because what you'll learn tonight reveals the psychological breakdown that changed everything. The CNN studios in Washington, D.C. were buzzing with anticipation for what was being billed as the most important political television event of the year. America Decides, a presidential forum, would feature both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump appearing together for the first time since the 2020 election aftermath. The format was unusual but compelling. Both men would appear on stage simultaneously, taking questions from a bipartisan panel of journalists and selected voters. It wasn't technically a debate, but everyone knew the potential for fireworks was enormous. Behind the scenes, the tension was palpable. Trump had arrived at the studio with his usual entourage of advisors, makeup artists, and handlers. His pre-appearance routine was legendary among television professionals. An hour of careful preparation that included hairstyling, makeup application, and what insiders euphemistically called appearance enhancement. Biden, in contrast, had arrived 15 minutes before airtime with just his chief of staff and a single aide. He spent those minutes reviewing his notes and sipping coffee, seemingly unbothered by the magnitude of the moment. At 8:55 p.m., both men were brought to the green room adjacent to the main studio. The room was designed for final preparations: 2 makeup chairs, bright Hollywood-style lighting, and mirrors that could reveal every imperfection under television's harsh glare. Trump immediately claimed the chair nearest the door, positioning himself with the territorial instinct that had served him throughout his career. His makeup artist, Patricia, began the familiar routine of applying powder and adjusting his appearance under the bright lights. Biden settled into the opposite chair, declining the offered makeup beyond a light powder dusting. "Just the basics," he told the makeup artist with his characteristic easy smile. For several minutes, both men sat in relative silence. The only sounds were the gentle buzz of the lights and the occasional murmur of staff members making last-minute adjustments. It was then that Trump decided to assert his dominance through intimidation and psychological warfare. "Joe," Trump said, his voice carrying the tone he used when he wanted to unnerve an opponent. "You sure you're ready for this? These lights are pretty harsh. They show every wrinkle, every age spot." Biden looked up from his notes, meeting Trump's gaze in the mirror. "I'm doing fine, Donald. Thanks for your concern." Trump leaned forward slightly, the way he had during their 2020 debates when he was trying to get under Biden's skin. "I mean, television can be brutal for someone your age. The cameras pick up everything. Maybe you should consider a little more enhancement." Biden's response was characteristic of his decades in politics: calm, measured, and seemingly unaffected. "Donald, I've been doing television for 50 years. I think I'll manage just fine." Trump's makeup artist was working carefully around his face, applying what appeared to be a carefully calibrated bronze foundation. The process was meticulous, almost artistic in its precision. Patricia had perfected this routine over years of television appearances, creating what Trump believed was his signature healthy glow. Biden watched this process with the detached interest of someone who had spent decades observing the theatrical aspects of politics. He had seen countless politicians undergo similar transformations, but Trump's routine was notably more elaborate than most. "You know, Donald," Biden said in a conversational tone that caught everyone in the room off guard, "I've always wondered about your particular approach to television makeup." Trump's eyes sharpened in the mirror. "What do you mean?" Biden's tone remained friendly, almost grandfatherly. "Well, it's just that you have such a distinctive look on camera. Very orange. I've always been curious about the process." The room went completely silent. Patricia's hand froze mid-application. Trump's advisors exchanged nervous glances. Trump's face, half covered in bronze makeup, began to flush beneath the foundation. "What did you just say?" "I said you have a very distinctive television appearance," Biden repeated, his voice maintaining the same conversational tone. "That particular shade of tan, it's quite striking. I assume it's intentional?" What happened next would become one of the most talked about moments in modern political television history. Trump shot up from his makeup chair so quickly that Patricia stumbled backward, nearly dropping her makeup kit. The bronze foundation was only half applied, creating a bizarre two-toned effect across his face that made him look like a partially completed wax figure. "What did you just say?" Trump roared, pointing an accusatory finger at Biden. "Are you calling me orange?" Are you making fun of my appearance? Biden remained seated, his expression showing genuine surprise at the explosive reaction. Donald, I was just making an observation. An observation? Trump's voice reached a pitch that everyone in the room had never heard before. You think you can sit there and mock my appearance? You think that's presidential? Trump began pacing the small green room like a caged animal, his hands gesturing wildly. The half-applied makeup created an almost comical effect, but no one in the room was laughing. I work hard to look good on television, Trump continued, his voice echoing off the walls. I spend time and money making sure I present well to the American people. And you want to mock that? Biden tried to interject. Donald, I wasn't mocking. Yes, you were, Trump screamed, turning to face Biden with wild eyes. You were making fun of my tan. My skin color, that's what Democrats do. They attack people's appearance because they can't win on policy. Biden's aide was discreetly recording audio on his phone, recognizing the historical significance of the moment. Patricia was trying to gather her scattered supplies while staying out of Trump's increasingly erratic movements. Mr. President, she said nervously, we need to finish your makeup before. Forget the makeup, Trump bellowed. He ruined it. He ruined everything. This is sabotage. Biden finally stood up, his height advantage over Trump becoming apparent. Donald, you need to calm down. We're about to go on live television. Don't tell me to calm down, Trump shot back, his face now a mottled combination of natural skin tone and bronze foundation. You started this. You attacked my appearance. That's not fair. Biden's voice took on the tone he had used during decades of Senate negotiations. Firm, but not aggressive. I made a simple comment about your makeup routine. Your reaction, concerning. Trump's response was to kick over a small trash can, sending makeup wipes and tissues scattering across the floor. Concerning? You want to talk about concerning? You can barely remember your own name half the time. Donald, Biden said with steel in his voice, you're having a tantrum about fake tan, on camera, 5 minutes before we're supposed to address the American people. The words hit Trump like a physical blow. He looked around the room, seeing his advisor's horrified expressions, the makeup artist's shock, and Biden's calm disappointment. This is a setup, he declared, pointing at Biden and then at the cameras. They planned this. They wanted to make me look bad before the show even started. Biden shook his head slowly. Nobody planned anything, Donald. I made a casual comment about your appearance, and you lost control. I didn't lose control, Trump screamed, the irony completely lost on him. At that moment, the stage manager knocked on the door. 2 minutes, gentlemen. We need you on set. Trump looked at himself in the mirror and saw the disaster staring back at him, half his face bronze, the other half natural skin tone, his hair disheveled from his pacing, his eyes wild with rage. I can't go on like this, he said, panic replacing anger. Look at me. I look ridiculous. Biden walked over to the mirror and stood beside Trump. The contrast was stark. Biden composed and camera-ready, Trump looking like he had been caught mid-transformation. You did this to yourself, Donald, Biden said quietly. All I did was mention your tan. Trump stared at his reflection, the full weight of his overreaction hitting him. In 5 minutes, they would be on live television, and he looked like a madman who had destroyed a makeup room over a comment about fake tan. Patricia, Trump said desperately to his makeup artist, can you fix this? Patricia looked at the disaster that was Trump's face, and the scattered makeup supplies on the floor. Mr. President, we'd need at least 20 minutes to start over. We don't have 20 minutes, Biden observed. We have 90 seconds. Trump's final meltdown came in the form of a desperate plea. Joe, you have to tell them something happened. You have to say there was a technical problem. I can't go on television looking like this. Biden looked at Trump with something approaching pity. Donald, you're asking me to lie to the American people because you couldn't handle a comment about your makeup routine. The stage manager knocked again. 30 seconds, gentlemen. Places, please. Trump made one last desperate attempt to salvage the situation. He grabbed paper towels and began frantically wiping at his face, trying to remove the bronze foundation. But this only made things worse, creating streaky patterns across his skin. This is your fault, he said to Biden, but the fight had gone out of his voice. You sabotaged me. Biden walked toward the door, then turned back. Donald, I mentioned your fake tan. Your reaction to that comment tells America everything they need to know about your temperament. When they walked onto the live television set, the contrast was immediately apparent to the viewing audience. Biden looked presidential, composed, camera-ready, professional. Trump looked like he had been in a fight with a makeup kit and lost. The green room incident, captured on multiple phones and security cameras, leaked within hours. Hashtag fake tan meltdown began trending immediately. Political commentators struggled to find adequate words to describe a former president having a complete psychological breakdown over a comment about spray tan. The incident became a defining moment in Trump's post-presidency, demonstrating that his psychological fragility extended even to casual observations about his appearance. Biden's calm handling of Trump's meltdown reinforced his image as the steady adult in the room.